Murder in a village, an outlaw is the one accused. Robin sees that right and true shall triumph unabused.
He's grown a lot since the last time.
He's the fair image of you, Edgar.
If he aims to be handsome, much better he'd take after his mother.
I'd hoped that you would come. But are you certain that it's safe to be here?
No one saw me come. And before the cock crows, I'll be back at Sherwood.
The sheriff has spies. Things have changed even since you left. No one trusts his neighbor.
That's the way they keep us under. By calling all those who oppose them outlaws and turning us against each other.
What manner of man is this Robin Hood?
A man who'll be remembered when these cruel lords and pet sheriffs will long be forgotten.
No one dare speak well of him here, and they've tarred you with the same brush.
Let them slander us. One day, it'll all be different.
Is it a merry life in Sherwood?
It would be, if you and the little one were with me.
You must be famished after walking so far. But dark bread and goat's milk is all I have to offer you.
Having it at home, it would be like a feast.
This brigand, what do you call him? Robin Hood? He must be very bold.
As bold as he's bad, and as bad as he's bold.
Worst of all, the man is a traitor to his class. He was well-born, almost as well-born as we.
His father and mine were friends. I knew Robin as a young lad.
Sometimes I suspect our fair Marion of harboring secret sympathies for the outlaw.
Surely you jest.
Not at all. He and I meet quite often in the dead of night in his forest lair. I've heard he's very handsome, is this true? He's as handsome as Apollo, and skilled in all the manly arts. Perhaps one day he'll assault our cardboard.
I'm afraid he's not your type, my lady. He's rough and uncouth, fit only for the company of cutthroats and ruffians.
How dreadful. But how do you know what is my type?
I see nothing funny about it. The serfs are getting out of hand, and if we're not careful, they'll soon be taking impossible liberties. It's very true, my lords and ladies. The villains on my estate are growing more and more unruly. A fortnight ago, a man refused to take the oath of allegiance to me as his liege. And they're beginning to grumble about their food and furnishings. They want beds to sleep on. Beds, mind you, just like us. And 2 meals a day. My dear Sheriff, your table could not be improved upon even in France.
And the serfs? What other outrageous things are they demanding?
My dear young lady, if the serfs revolt, it will not be amusing for any of us.
Ever since Jack the Wagoner was murdered, matters have become worse. The villagers claim it was one of our men who did it. And they say that's why we haven't brought him to justice.
Naturally, that couldn't be true.
Naturally.
It's those outlaws who've stirred things up. The peasants are beginning to regard them as heroes.
A man to see you, my lord.
Tell him to wait.
But he says he brings very important news, my lord.
Huh? Oh. Well, the duties of office. My humble apologies.
My lord.
Well, Humphrey, what is so important that you intrude upon my dinner?
Your pardon, my lord. There is an outlaw in our village.
What?
An outlaw, my lord. A man called Edgar, a neighbour of ours. I saw him enter his house.
How long ago?
Not half an hour ago, my lord. I ran up here as soon as I saw him.
Tell my lieutenant to come here at once.
Yes, my lord.
Humphrey, how would you like to earn a little extra?
Oh, I'm most generous of you, lordship. Most generous.
Would you mind standing still for a moment? Now listen carefully.
Yes, my lord.
Jack the Wagoner was murdered in your village. So far, no one knows who did it. Might it not have been this outlaw? And if so, why shouldn't the villagers deal with him themselves? Under your direction, of course.
If he could be found guilty, it would save a lot of tongues wagging, your lordship.
Exactly. Now, go back to your village.
I believe you are an excellent horsewoman, my dear Marion. I have brought in some fine Arabian stock. But I perceive the sheriff interests you more than my poor conversation.
I'm sorry. You were saying you had some Arabian horses.
And it would give me great pleasure to show them to you, or perhaps to take you riding.
You're very kind.
My friends, a piece of great good fortune has just fallen into our laps. One of the outlaws is now in Middlebury.
And your men are arresting him?
Better than that, my dear Count. I suggested that the villagers should charge him with the murder of Jack the Wagoner. In that way, we can wash our hands of him, and the outlaws will be discredited.
A brilliant notion, my lord.
My compliments, Sheriff. But how do you know they can prove him guilty?
My dear Marion, it will be for him to prove that he is innocent.
Why do you want him? He came home to see his family. There's nothing wrong in that.
We wouldn't have anything to say about him just coming to visit you, Matilda.
He has brought the violence of outlaw life to this peaceful village.
No, he's brought only gentleness and love. And if you hadn't come now, he'd have slipped away and left no mark of his coming.
Except Jack the Wagoner's body lying dead.
What do you mean?
You split his skull with a rock and stole the little bag of coins he'd been saving all his life.
Who, me? But I wasn't here when he was murdered.
Don't you tell me this is the first time you've come back to this village.
Oh, wait, Humphrey. We don't know that Edgar did it. It just looks as if he did.
Then why do you say it?
He's an outlaw. They live by thieving and killing.
And Humphrey says he saw him do it.
You saw me hit Jack the Wagoner with a rock?
I saw you sneaking about the field behind his house, near the very spot where his body was found.
But last night was the first time
So you say. The word of an outlaw against an honest man.
But you all know Edgar. He grew up in this village.
You've known me all my life.
You've been living in the woods like an animal, away from your people and your church. You're a desperate man, wanted by the crown.
Yes, because I killed a deer for food.
It was a lawless deed, your first step from righteousness.
But I didn't kill Jack the Wagoner.
Can't you see that he's speaking the truth?
No, not now. Not listening to him talk. But there is a means of killing. I think he ought to have a fair trial. By ordeal. Then if he's innocent, the Lord will allow him to prove it. What say you, Alvin?
I can't bring myself to believe that Edgar would kill anyone. But I may be wrong. And I think it would be a good thing in his own interest to have it proved one way or the other. Yes, I think he should submit to the ordeal.
brings you here?
Bad news, Robin. One of your men has been taken in Middlebury Village.
What? But last evening we were all here in camp.
Then he must have slipped out during the night.
It's Edgar, Robin. That's his village, and he's not here.
Edgar? Yes, he was restless to see his family. I feared this might happen. Well, we'll have to get him out of it. Little John!
What's this? That's it. That's Jack's money pouch.
Oh, look, they're cooking something out of doors. Perhaps we'll be in time for a feast of some sort.
What we need to know is if it's safe. No bailiffs, foresters, or sheriff's men about. It looks all right from here.
I wonder what's in that pot. Some tender fowls, plump mutton, a rich beef stew.
Can you stop thinking of your stomach for just a moment? We're here to rescue Edgar. Don't be frightened. We're not going to hurt you.
I'm not frightened. You or nobody.
That's fine. What's going on over there? That pot on the fire.
Ordeal was boiling water. Jack the wagoner was murdered, and we think we know who done it.
Oh, what does the suspect have to do? Stand in it?
Well, he has to take a bar of iron from the bottom of the boiling pot. And if his hand doesn't blister, well, we know he's innocent.
Savage superstition. Where I come from, he has to pluck the bar from off burning coals.
Far more civilized. What makes people think this man is guilty?
Well, Humphrey saw him near Jack's house, and he's an outlaw.
Surely that's a proof of his innocence.
Yes, since when did outlaws harm poor villagers?
You seem to know a lot about them. Who are you?
They call me Robin Hood.
Hey, come back here.
Let him go. He's harmless.
Well, now they've been warned, we'll have a pretty fight in our hands.
We wouldn't have passed unrecognized for long.
Listen, there isn't going to be any fight. We must come as peaceful visitors.
Aren't we going to help Edgar escape?
Certainly not. It'll be like a confession of guilt. He'd never be able to visit his family again. Give me your weapons.
Why, what are you going to do?
I'm going to establish Edgar's innocence, not only for his sake, but for ours. We can't have the men of Sherwood branded as murderers.
The friar's right, Little John.
We come in peace, friend.
You know who I am. You are one of my men there.
And we don't want any more.
There are many villages in this shire where we're welcome.
They haven't had one of your outlaws steal in at night and murder a householder.
No, they haven't. I'm glad you admit that. In fact, you've never heard of any man of mine harming poor people, have you?
I have. There he is.
Why are you so certain that Edgar is guilty?